Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account and we're going to be breaking down the brand new celestial hero that we have, which is Selene. Now, overall on this account, we have started building her out. We did get her the plus 30 signature item, started to get the engraving on there as well as the furniture. Now, the one thing to note with this hero is she kind of plays a dual role like we've seen with a lot of the last hero releases. And what we mean by that is a lot of her skills and abilities are healing, shielding, even though she is a mage. Even though she is burst damage, she kind of plays that support role and she plays the burst role, but it doesn't seem like she really plays both of them at the same time. So let's hop over and I want to break this down and show you exactly what we're talking about when it comes to this hero. Now, of course, here is Selene. Now, this is a guide that was shared over on Reddit. Big shout out to Swavir for the first impressions here. Now, it cycles through the moon. Now, if you've seen any of this hero in combat, she does have moon phases, which is relevant on the top left. And looking at her, she cycles through different phases of the moon. She gains different effects based on the moon itself. So the new moon, which of course is the beginning, heals allies. The crescent moon cleanses debuffs. The gibbous moon does shielding. And then the full moon deals big damage and applies eclipse. During eclipse, the enemies lose HP every time they use a skill. So as you can see, with the 4 iterations or the 4 different variations of the moon, there's only one in here that does fill that damage dealer role or that DPS role, while the other 3 are kind of that support hero. Now, of course, summons a comet that deals damage, stunning enemies, buffs allies attack, defense, vitality. That scales depending on the lunar phase. And again, so when you think about it in this cycle or what she actually does, damage in 2 different places. She does some crowd control, which could be relevant within the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, or the Treasure Scramble, just based on the damage. But she also does that crowd control aspect. She does offer the buff of the attack, defense, vitality, and she also has the healing, the cleansing, and the shielding. So again, when we think about a damage dealer, it doesn't really fit into that really cusp of just being a damage dealer. She does have a lot of abilities that are kind of different. So I'm not going to read through all of these, but you can see these are the 4 phases of the moon, and depending on which phase it is, you can see the moonlit arc, you can see the falling comets, and then this is the ultimate. This is what does all of the big damage, is the moon limit plus the eclipse, and then the circle, which is of course kind of that pulled together, and then the moon shields that we do see in there as well. So running through kind of the skills and abilities, like we've seen traditionally with a lot of the newer heroes, there is a passive part of this. There is an active part of this. So when she actually does her ultimate ability, it does change the moon phases. So depending what phase you're in is going to have different skills and abilities depending on where you are. Now, falling stars, like we said, that is going to be mainly the damage dealing. Falling comets dealing 360% of the attack to all enemies on the enemy side of the field. This is important because that means you're going to have to keep the enemies on the enemy side of the field. If they're on the other side, it seems like it's not going to have the effect that it is. Not going to see the stunning on there because they have to be on that enemy side of the field, which means crowd control and getting them to that side might be important. Now, the first time comments are summoned, damage is increased and stun duration does go up. And of course, depending on the active, depending where they are. Now, of course, looking here in the Radiant phase, this is the attack and the defense. If you get that E30, which is going to be imperative, really buffing up the skills and abilities she possesses, but enhances all allied heroes based again on the highest lunar phase, increasing attack and defense and vitality depending on the phase. And this is kind of the crowd control that we've talked about. The areas increase if lunar phase or gibbous moon are higher. Each falling comet or summon, they do more damage overall. Then the E60, targets hit by the moonward circle take 100% more damage from her specifically. So when you go in here and when you use this hero, if you're using the hero as a damage dealer, you're going to have this moonward circle that is going up on rotation, being able to cap and being able to add up to 150% more damage, which is going to be kind of crazy. Now, looking at the signature item, you can see a lot of it again is really focused on that support role. The healing of the new moon is extended to all allies, dispelling debuffs in there every 6 seconds, increasing the attack rating in there. And then we finally get to the SI30, and this is the point where extra damage actually comes in. And then the SI40, the first time that the moon lament is triggered, does not return to lunar phase of the moon. You're going to have a little bit of a higher buff out of there. Now, furniture, the active skills required to advance the lunar phase is reduced to 4. So you're going to be cycling through the phases a lot faster. If Moon Limit is not during active alt, advances to the next phase. So again, the point of this is to get to the higher moons or get to the later phases because they do have a lot more ability. Now, potential usage in here, the treasure scramble, many may see usage in here like we kind of talk about. Awaken Chimera, Awaken Lucius, hard to tell without the testing. It is still super early with this hero, guys. You gotta be aware. Make sure you're saving them because we are seeing her in some formations. But again, we're going to have to see. It's very early to really understand where she is going to be placed in formations. Nightmare Corridor has good potential as a buffer, ramps up quite fast. Thing we see with her is survivability. It even is noted here right under the treasure scramble, low survivability in here. That is an area that we're seeing issues with. She dies very quickly and all of her skills die or disappear upon death. Might be in a meta formation. Again, it's going to be a strong formation that is going to offer some of the defensive abilities that she does need to survive. And of course, Nightmare Corridor likely to be used in the Nightmare Corridor boss, the Blighted Seraphine. And as you can see, Cursed Realm already in a Cursed Realm comp, as we can see right here. Very good buffing potential. Again, this is a mode where you really don't have to worry about going in here and not lasting like that full minute 30 in here. It does work incredibly well. Now we got to see with the rotations. That's the reason why we say don't build her out super early, as we don't know exactly what those iterations really do look like. Now, investment, SI30 is nice because of the DPS. SI40 is probably not needed, but could be good for the additional resource or the additional stats you're going to get out of there. If you're using her as a damage dealer on the SI40, if you're being competitive within like the Curse Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, the Treasure Scramble, kind of going to be imperative in there to have it. Like we're seeing with the majority of heroes, it is pretty good. Furniture, the 3 of 9 furniture is good for the faster phase, 9 for the exact same reason. E30 is very strong and E60 is very good if she's used as a DPS, which again, looking at the one right up here, we do have Zora and we do have Selene together in the formation. And both of them doing an incredible amount of damage. Flexions, attack or full attack, if used as support. The Storm used as DPS. And of course, the wings when you're looking at possibly PvP. So the minimum, the 20930 maximum recommendation, 30960. It says the SI40 is unlikely to be essential. So there are a lot of other heroes that really do prioritize building out that SI40 much, much faster. New players not going to break into the top 3 is what they're saying right here. I really don't feel it as a damage dealer. She might be in that SS tier like we're seeing with a lot of other heroes. Late players, seems like she has a lot of potential in here. Gonna have to see exactly where she's being used. And again, when we start looking at this, guys, she's very new to AFK Arena. That's exactly what we were kind of talking about. So even when we think of this, Captive Wings definitely could be run within a PvP formation aspect. Damage dealing in here with Zafriel's collection. And of course, depending on how you have them built, depending on exactly how she's going to work, we're going to wait and see within the rotations. I would not personally ramp up and really build her unless you're like me, where we had a ton of extra diamonds. We had a ton of excess Stargazer scrolls. So literally just sitting around waiting for the next hero. The rumor also has it that the next hero is going to be a Draconic hero, and it could be a Highborn Draconic hero at that. So again, trying to save some of these resources because I know just like me, I am out of elemental cores in the entirety. Definitely have to farm a lot more of those coming out of a bunch of different game modes. But all right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.